Welcome to Seven Stream Queens, the podcast for ambitious female entrepreneurs who are ready to reign over their income streams and build businesses that thrive. We're here to guide you on the journey from one stream of income to 7 and beyond, so you can create financial freedom and the life you've always dreamed of. Whether you're launching a side hustle, scaling your empire, or just curious about how to multiply your revenue, this is your go-to show for expert tips, actionable strategies, and inspiring stories. So grab your crown, because it's time to rule your business like the queen you are.
I love that tone. Okay.
All right. Today we are here with Melissa Stephens. She is a longtime author, publishing since January of 2012, longer than me, literally 1 year longer than me. That's wild. When did you start?
Actually, yeah.
And when did you start?
I think I started 2013, yeah.
Yep. So we wanted to basically what happened was Melissa joined us for the monthly goal setting in February. We ended up talking for a really long time, and it was very apparent that she needed to be the first author guest on the podcast so that we could talk, because she has this whole income streams absolutely down. But let's talk a little bit about her background, because her numbers are wildly impressive. So you started in 2012.
I published in 2012, yeah.
Mhm.
That was my first published. I started writing in 2009.
Mhm.
In 2012, I put out 2 books. At that point in time, I was doing paranormal romance. I published roughly 1 to 2 a year for probably the next 5 or 6 years.
Mhm.
And then I started getting better and starting faster and writing more. And I am up to 72 books published.
That's amazing. Were you also still in the paranormal, or had you switched at that point?
I started writing contemporary, I want to say about 2013, 2014. But I was doing both for a long, long time.
Yeah. Okay.
And I now have 3 paranormal series. 1 I still need to finish. I've got 2 books planned, but they're just not I don't have all the details worked out yet.
Yeah. I think we all have one of those.
To finish up the other, the last series that are, and all of my paranormal are shifters.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have
like
a
shifters.
wolf shifter, a mountain lion shifter, and a dragon shifter series.
Ooh, Nicole would like the Dragons Shifter series, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
And those are all out. Then, I've switched to contemporary, and I've done a few different things for contemporary. I did some billionaire books. I did some hero romance. I really, really love the hero romance.
Yeah.
They do not sell as well as I would hope. But then I got into Motorcycle Club, and only my Motorcycle Club's kind of a twist. The entire club is undercover law enforcement.
Oh,
It
interesting.
is a unit, and some are military, some are DEA, FBI. I was reading something, and I got finished with it, and I go, this was really good, but it would have been better if.
Wow.
And so at the time, I was in a local writing group, and we had a guy who had recently retired from the FBI join. And I sat down with him one day, and I said, this is my idea. And he told me, I can't confirm or deny, but your idea is not that far off.
That is so cool.
Because I'm very interested now. What is the series?
The name of the series is Demented Souls. There's currently 17 books out. The first book is Ruger, and it is free everywhere.
Ruger.
Nice.
Yes, Ruger.
Okay.
And if that reader magnet, that will take you to Ruger.
Perfect.
Even better.
Yeah, that reader magnet. Now, once you sign up, you'll also get an email for an exclusive prequel story that'll tell you how he came to be known as Ruger.
Oh, I'm doing that after this.
And it's not long. It's not romance. It's about 10 pages, but the name of it is How to Become a Demented Soul.
Cool.
I love it.
And I've been doing, I started that partially because my dad rode motorcycles. My dad was a cop who worked undercover. And so he was a major, major source for information on all aspects of this
Yeah.
when I wrote Ruger. I was halfway through the next book, what I had planned to be the next book in the series, when he had a heart attack, spent 10 days in the hospital, and passed away.
Oh
Oh,
God.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry to hear that.
It took me 2.5 years to finish the book I was in the middle of, partially
Yeah.
because the main female character in that, her father had had a heart attack and was recovering.
Oh my
Mm.
God, no.
So in the meantime, I wrote 3 novellas in the series. Those actually ended up being books 2, 3, and 4. And what was supposed to be book 2 is now book 5.
Wow.
Okay.
And so I just kept writing in it. And as you read through it, after my dad passed away, so book 4 starts with a dedication to him.
Yeah, I did that as well in mine.
And it just grows as different parts of his friend group passed away. And so even now I have the same, it's a full page dedication for that series. Book 18 and 19 are on pre-order right now.
I
Nice.
have a question about, sorry,
Sure.
maybe we're going off a little bit of tangent, but it's really interesting. As you're talking, I'm thinking of things to ask. Um, a lot of people have said that long book series aren't the way to go. Like, and they say keep a series at maybe 4 or 5. How do you find the read-through rate and all of that?
So it does tend to fall off some, but
Okay.
every time I put a new book out, I get a big sale on all of the
Okay.
backlist because
Okay.
they are all can be read as standalones.
Yeah.
You can join the book series at any time and then go back and read them all or read them out of
Okay.
order. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you get little hints about them. And I'm working on, adding a spinoff here, adding a spinoff there.
Mhm.
And they're all the only book series I have that can't be read as standalones is the very first one of the shifters. That's
Okay.
more of a urban fantasy where you need to read them all in order,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but the rest of them are all
Yeah.
standalones.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
and it does fall off some, but I see a huge spike with every release. So I'm
Mm.
going to keep going for a while.
Super. Sorry, that was
Now,
a
No worries.
now I know everybody's going to want to know how you got started with writing because isn't that one of the most common questions? So, and I
It
like your
is.
story, so go ahead.
So I got started. I got an email one day that said, write 50,000 words in the month of November. And I'm like, that is crazy. And I threw it away. But the idea would not leave me alone. So I ended up going back and doing a whole bunch of searches and finding it and writing it and doing National Novel Writing Month. And I won, and I did it like 14 or 15 times before I quit.
Mhm.
And I think I only didn't actually win twice. I was a municipal liaison for 10 years. After the 2020 year season, when they started being more focused on other things than writing, I left.
Mhm.
I was there for the writing and for the promoting
Yeah.
writing, not for their other
Yeah.
things. And so when they started, other things were more important than writing, I left them.
Mhm. Yep. But it was a great way to
Oh, it
start
was a
building
great way. It was a
writing
great
habits.
experience. I met lots of people. I That's what got me started writing, and it's also what helped me learn to write faster.
Yeah.
And I love how, and I think a lot of us do this. I noticed that you had differentiated between when you started writing versus when you started publishing.
Yeah.
And so you had started writing back in 2009. So that was when you first started.
Yep.
Um, and I had started, it's similar. Christine, do you know when you started writing? Like, did you just start writing and start publishing immediately, or did you?
Well, no, I actually did nano as well
Mhm.
and wrote my trilogy. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. And then my mum was here for Christmas and I went, will you just read that and tell me what you think? She goes, oh, this is fab. Are you reading it for somebody? I went, no, I did it. So I
Mhm.
did the same thing. I saw it and I went, do you know what? I've been editing and I've been beta reading books that I thought I could write better. Awful thing to say. And I thought, do you know what? I think I want to give this a go. And I have never wanted to write stories. I was told I wasn't creative at school. And so it wasn't something that I was going to jump right into. But no, I just did it. And I think the 50,000 words in 30 days sounds like it is a lot, particularly if you're not used to doing it. But because they hold you accountable each day, you know, it was the right thing. And I was in the coffee shop, I was in the car, in the hostel car parks, whatever I was doing, I was on my phone in the notes section writing out my chapters.
And I did it in line, waiting to pick up the
Yeah,
kids at the ball field while the kids had
yeah,
practice. It was when I first started publishing and putting things out, it was a great way for me to make a little money for me while dealing with the kids. Because at that point in time, I was a full-time mom.
mm,
Um, and it was really great and I really enjoyed it. I had 5 books published before I told anyone but my husband.
mm,
My mother didn't know, my dad didn't know, nobody but my husband knew till after I had more than five
yeah,
books published.
Mhm.
that's nice.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was doing the writing. I was an English major. It was, the kind of thing that was fun for me. It was, like my
Yeah,
downtime and stuff like that. And I had a job where I was managing an office and I would be so bored. And so I would
mm,
literally, when there was nothing to do, I was writing. And so I really had the reason why the first year publishing every, like practically every month was so easy was because I had all these books that just needed to be edited because I'd been
yeah.
writing for years. So, right,
Yeah.
like that's how we do. Um, so yes, I completely understand. Now, so I know we talked briefly before we came on, and you generally write under your name, but you are starting an additional pen name. And this is a little bit of a different experience. You're going a different route with this one.
I am. Instead of self-publishing, I'm using a small press, and once they get it out, I will officially be a hybrid author.
Mm-hmm. And we've already agreed that we'll, once she's had the full experience and it's published, then we'll have another
Yeah.
talk to, go over all of that, tell people what to expect kind of thing, because it's hard this early in the game. But
Yeah.
and what prompted that decision to go hybrid?
Okay, so last year I read 656 books
Wow. Okay.
and wrote 6.
I was gonna ask how many you wrote.
My husband was deployed for the last 2 years,
Mm,
and so I did a lot he was in El Paso, which is an 8-hour drive from me. At least once a month, I made the trip to see him.
mm,
And I listened to audiobooks, and I listened
yeah.
to audiobooks at 3 times. So an 8-hour drive, I can listen to almost 30 hours each way.
Wow.
Mhm.
I did a lot of audiobooks and a lot of reading last year. And I listened to a lot of the books that
Mm,
Evernight publishes. And I know that they're wide because I was reading and listening through Kobo Plus.
Mhm.
yeah.
Um, and there was some, I'm like, I like this. I can do this. But they're a little bit darker, a little bit smuttier than what I typically write. So I'm like, okay, I can do it, but I don't want to piss off my existing readers by not being what they expect.
Mhm.
So we'll write this and put it under a new pen name and submit to them. And they've picked it up. We've signed a contract. We're just waiting for publication.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Your kids are older though, right? Because I want to make sure because I try to set realistic expectations for people. So yes, Melissa has 4 children, but when
So,
last year when you were doing this, they were what ages?
well, last year when I did it, my son turned 18 in April.
Mm-hmm.
My son is my baby. He's the only one left at home.
Yep.
My oldest is 25. Actually, my oldest is 25. The niece we finished raising is 25 or will be this year. My other daughter will be 24 this year. And then my son will be 19 in April. When I started writing, my son was 3.
See, yeah, exactly. Mhm.
Mm, that's
Yep.
madness, isn't it?
I could get out a lot more books back when, kind of napped twice a day too. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that was easier. But okay. All right. So for the rest, for people who are just starting out and have young children, like you can't like set this as the standard for yourself and compare.
No,
Everybody's
no.
journey is different. Yes.
And when my kids were little, it was 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, sitting in line at the school waiting to pick them up. They've got
Mhm.
softball practice, and I cannot tell you how many nights I sat at the softball field with a legal pad,
Right. Oh,
Mm,
handwriting on a legal pad.
wow.
okay. Wow. Because I was using, of course, like I was lucky because it was always smartphones, right? Since,
Well,
2013
Yeah.
yeah,
smartphones. And
and I did at one point. I had the Droid 3. It was the first one that had a slide out keyboard.
Mhm.
And I absolutely love that. And I wore it out until the
Yeah.
screen broke off the keyboard because I would sit at soccer or softball and type on my screen.
Mhm.
But I was faster handwriting and I still am. And I just picked up a little, it's kind
Mhm.
of like the Remarkable,
Yeah.
only
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
size of a half size notebook. And I absolutely love it. It does handwriting recognition. I can write pages, tell it, recognize and convert to doc, and it will sync it, put it in my OneDrive, and I can go through, do a little bit of editing and paste it into my document. I absolutely love it.
That's beautiful. Does your
Mhm.
Remarkable do the same thing, Christine?
Yes, it does. Yeah, I use a Remarkable, and
So
yeah, it goes straight into the Remarkable on the computer, so you can
yeah,
see your
and
files. Yeah,
the reason I didn't do Remarkable is the size.
yeah.
Um, I typically carry a half size notebook,
Okay,
but
yeah,
my little device compared to a legal pad,
yeah,
Yes.
this is the size of what I normally carry. So I
Mhm.
picked up that one and it was not a whole lot cheaper, but I've been very happy with it. I've had it about a month and I carry it
yeah,
everywhere. It has replaced at the time I ordered it, I could look around and in my bag and I could see 10
yeah.
notebooks. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can replace them and never have to buy them again.
Yeah, see, so that makes sense for you. I ended up doing a Bluetooth keyboard. So I could set my phone down and I would just type on this, like the keyboard was this big and it would fit into my purse. And
Yeah.
Yep.
so I could take it with me everywhere. So when Kenna had therapy, like if she was in like her PTOT, speech therapy, whatever, I could
Yeah.
sit there for that, hour and a half that I was there and get a whole bunch of writing done without having to carry a laptop with me. Did the
Yeah.
same thing in carpool, you know what I mean? Like all of that. So yeah, so
Yeah.
these are options for people for us we should make sure to include in the show notes that some different options so that
And
people
I've
starting.
done Bluetooth keyboards and tablets.
Yes, yes. Mhm,
I've done a lot of different things. I find that when I'm out and about, it
mhm.
works very well for me to handwrite. And I can handwrite a page in about 15 minutes,
Yep.
if
I
not
get a
longer.
bad pain in my hand. I can't do it anymore. I can only do so much.
Yeah, it just depends on what's going on. And
Yeah.
now, if it were my left hand, this muscle is really, really sore in my left hand,
Yeah.
not my
Oh, I hate
right
that
hand
one
so
there.
much.
Yeah, that's a real bad one. I hate it.
But you know,
Hmm.
and if I knit more often, it works. It's a little better, but it's one of those things. I really like the notebook and the can, convert and export, and then I can just copy and paste it into my
Yeah,
document. I
that's
absolutely
good.
love it.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to what is, and I didn't put this down, but it just occurred to me this is something that people are going to want to know about, which is like, what is your process? Because everybody has a different process. Are you a plotter? Are you a pantser? Are you a
I
planter?
am a pantser 100%. I start out with a character, a situation, and because it's romance, they're going to end up together. I might come up with some major conflicts, but very rarely. Usually it's well, my current one is a character died in the previous book, and
Mhm,
now we start this one at his funeral and his sister. His
mhm.
sister is completely lost without him. He was her only family. Now the club is going to step in and help take care of her. And now where are we going to go from there? How do we have conflict in that? And so that's all I started with. I'm 30% through with it now.
I
So
think this is an ADHD thing. Okay. You
yeah,
know why? Because here's the thing, we get an idea, we get really excited about it, and the problem is if I know everything that's going to happen, I lose absolute interest in writing the story.
exactly. I don't, if I know what's going to happen, what's the point in writing it now?
Yeah.
Um, and so I just like, okay, here's my situation. I got to know the characters and I've got to know their history
Hmm.
because their history is what makes them tells me how they're going to react to something.
Hmm.
And then I just go. Today's Tuesday. I started this book a week ago.
Yep. Christine, do you do the same thing? Do you like you're a pantser mostly, aren't you, too?
Yeah, I am a pantser. I've done the planter as well, where I've had a little bit of an idea, but the
Uh,
characters go off on their own, and then you've got to steer them back, in or completely change the direction they're going in. So
mhm.
I like that part of it because when you're in the flow and it's all coming together, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden random happens, and you're like, oh, let's go that way.
So I
So
had
fun.
one book I was in the middle of writing, and I'm writing along, and all of a sudden the main character, the female, she tells me, be prepared, my brother's gonna be here tomorrow. And I'm like, but you're an only child. And he showed up, and then later he got a book of his own.
Nice.
Of course.
Nice. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you didn't have a brother. But yeah, he showed up. But and
Yeah.
these days I write the book. I don't know if you have seen what's his name? Wesley Dean Wesley, what's his last name? Dean Wesley Smith, I think.
No.
I think that's his name. Let me look. Yes, Dean Wesley Smith. I have done 20 books to 50K for several years before it stopped being 20 books to 50K. And he would come and speak, and does these talks about what he calls writing into the dark. He sits down, he writes, he does not go back and edit. He
Mhm.
does like you and I do. He comes in the morning, reads what he wrote yesterday,
Yep.
fixes it a little bit, and keeps writing.
Mhm.
And when he's done, he hands it to the editor.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I
That's it.
read it. I do not revise it. I do not go through and edit it. I used to do a lot. That's part of why I'd only get 2 or 3 books a year.
Mhm.
Now I write it and I send it off to my editor, and she'll come back and she'll go, okay, so we've got this problem, and I'll go back and fix them. And it usually takes me under an hour to get everything fixed.
Mhm.
Um, and some of my issues are where I've started with like she was an only child, and now she has a brother, and now I have to go back and fix that.
Mhm.
But not all of them. And she tells me that my books are some of the cleanest she edits.
Mm. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Because of and I think it's partially the way that we do it. So I realized, because of who I am, if I tried to sit down and just edit afterwards, I would pick it apart and it would take me forever. And I would just,
Yeah.
because like nothing is ever perfect. So in order to prevent me from not publishing, because I'm going to edit it forever, I have to just do the bare minimum. And again, like my editor says the same thing, that it's like super clean. She's like, this is the cleanest. She's like, every time she goes, I can't believe I'm charging you for this kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I need it. So
We need it. And then the other thing is, I write them, I submit them, and I do a little, he calls it cycling back. You loop back and you edit what you wrote yesterday. And I do that. But I was going through it and I was revising, and when I got to the point, and for like 5 books in a row, that I would go through and revise, and the entire word count would change under 500 words. What am I doing?
Mhm.
Why am I wasting my time doing this?
Yep.
So I just send it off to my editor now, and she'll go through it. And if she finds issues, we fix them. If she doesn't, we're good.
Mhm. Yeah, it definitely, we've streamlined the process. Do you format your own books?
Yes.
And how do you format?
I started out doing it all in Word, and it would take me 2 days to do ebook and print together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought a Mac and I started using Vellum.
Mm-hmm.
And Vellum, I had it all set up. I could import and format my books in the style I liked in 10 minutes, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And then 2 things happened. The onboard battery on the Mac died.
Mm.
So if the main battery dies, I lose time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to go in and reset everything. And the Vellum started not refusing to open existing files.
Oh.
So I would have formatted a book, and I'm going in, I've got a sale on one. I'm going to double check all my formatting and my links and everything, and it wouldn't open them. I have to start from scratch.
Ugh.
So between the problems with my Mac and the Vellum, I got Atticus.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like Atticus. It's not as easy, it's not as streamlined as Vellum, but it works. I did recently I got not Vellum, I got Atticus about a year ago. In the last year, I have formatted 65 books. In between fixing different things for sales and translations and everything. And then they had that issue in December where it's taking forever to process certain things.
Mhm.
And so I've just last week went back to what they're calling simplified Atticus. I don't remember what they're calling it. It's a simplified version of it, so that when I click to edit a chapter, it doesn't take 5 minutes to load the chapter.
Yeah.
And it works really well. I can go in, I have all my settings. It doesn't default to my settings like Vellum did.
Mhm.
So I have to go in and put everything in there, make sure my chapters are right, choose the format I like,
Mhm.
and then download them. It takes me about 15, 20 minutes to do a book. As long as now translations do take a little longer because they have not all done all the formatting work in Word before I import them. But I can format a translation in under an hour most of the time.
Mhm. Yeah, I do a lot of formatting, like some of my coaching clients, because they don't have Macs or they're new and it only takes me a few minutes to do it. I just
Exactly.
But so Atticus, that's apparently a PC option.
It's an anywhere option.
Oh,
You can run it
really?
off. It is web-based. It
Oh,
runs out
nice.
of Chrome. It
Okay.
can run out of any browser, but it is web-based. And it's run by Dave Chesson.
Oh. And do you also use his Publishizer? Or
I have
it's
not
his
used
Publishizer, isn't it?
Publisher Rocket.
Publisher Rock. Okay. What am I thinking of? I thought oh, I know what Publishizer is. It's a site for it was kind of like Kickstarters for nonfiction books. That's Publishizer.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I am not.
Um,
He does Rocket.
mhm.
He does Kindlepreneur.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and he's got the Atticus. He's got a few others, but those are the big ones. Um, he does his own books,
And
but
do you
I've
do
used Rocket. I have not, it's not a huge thing for me, but I have it and I have used it in the past.
right? That's exactly how I feel. Now, I do use all the time Katie Spy.
Yes, I do
I
use Katie
love,
Spy.
yeah.
He's got a couple other things in there, like you can go in and do a link shortener or a QR code, stuff like that. I don't really use those because I use books to read,
Hmm.
and I do um where I set my link so that, for example, Ruger's download is books to read /Ruger.
Hmm.
And that's not what's in there because the link I gave you is to
Book
my
funnel.
magnet.
Yep.
But I do, it's like the collections, my box sets, they all have their own personalized URL. That's the word I couldn't think of.
I get it. Okay. And so, all right. Now I see that you are also, I'm like taking notes for the
That's
show.
fine.
So I see that you are also doing, you use BookFunnel. Do you participate in their promotions? Do you join their promotions?
So BookFunnel, I do BookFunnel mostly as group swaps, group promos, and
Hmm.
newsletter swaps mostly. I do occasionally join a sales promo, but
Hmm.
it's usually just newsletter leads. I usually just do the newsletter ones. Um,
And you probably get away with a cheaper version than the rest of us who have multiple pen names. So that was brilliant.
I think I pay 150 a year
Okay. All right.
because of the download limit and integration.
Hmm.
I was downloading every lead manually and importing them,
Hmm.
and for $50 a year, it's worth the time for it to integrate my list.
And who do you use for your email server?
SendFox.
Oh, okay. Okay. So SendFox is an AppSumo, an AppSumo.
SendFox is an AppSumo.
Now, has it
Is
gotten
that
prettier?
it is a pure AppSumo product, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it is. It's a pure AppSumo. It's kind of basic. It doesn't have a lot of the extra
Yeah.
features like countdowns, but it does have what I needed, which is your drip campaign or automations is what they call it.
Hmm.
Um, I can do automations. I can do everything that I wanted in there. My links, my pictures. It is kind of basic, but for 10,000 subscribers, I pay $10 a month.
Mm,
So to me, it's a one-time setup fee. I've actually put $150 in it to get the blocks of 5,000 each. Because you go into AppSumo, you pay $50 for 5,000 subscriber block.
uh-huh.
And then you don't have to pay anything every month. It's free after that. But when you send out a newsletter, they're going to send them out slowly.
Mm,
For that $10 a month, you schedule it, they all go out at that time.
Yeah.
They also removes the ads for $10 a month. And really, $10 a month is nothing.
exactly.
I had half as many through MailerLite 5 years ago before I switched, and I was paying 50 a month.
Mm.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and that's one of the things. This is why I'm like asking all these things for people who are, because everybody has a different setup. Like,
It is. And one of the things that I found when I switched from MailerLite to SendFox
Mhm.
was my open rate doubled.
Really?
Because a lot of the MailerLite, for some reason, were ending up in spam boxes.
That's similar to the flow desk as well. I've heard a lot of people saying recently that the open rate has dropped
Is
considerably. I
Yes,
think you get hidden a lot with
it
stuff going
does.
in.
And my MailerLite is same as my SendFox. They're all set up through my domain.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question, did you have to do like the DKIM and the DMARC stuff when everything happened? In February of 24. Listen to me like I'm an elderly person back in February. They basically had the new in order to stay out of for deliverability, every server made you add DKIM and DMARC stuff for it so that like verifying and validating your domain name and all that stuff.
I did not have to do it in February, but I probably did it 4 years ago when I signed up because
Oh.
I've always sent from my domain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm certain I verified my domain, which is held through WordPress
Mm-hmm.
when I signed up. But it's been 4 years ago and I don't remember exactly how I did it.
Yeah, see, because originally, like with MailerLite, so I was on MailerLite and I was on Flowdesk. And so both of those just made you verify your domain, like, and that was fine. But then there was an additional setting that I had to do for everybody, like, and I have lists on multiple servers, right? So I had
Yeah.
to do that. But anyway.
Well, and so here's the funny part. My website is through WordPress.com. I don't
Hmm.
use a .org, it's a .com.
Right. Yep.
But my actual domain I purchased through .easy. And they
Okay.
do hosting, but I didn't want to have to set it all up, so my hosting is actually through .com. And it's weird, I know, but it works for me.
Yeah, everybody has a different setup, like this is why we ask. So,
And I was when I set it up, 13, 14 years ago, I was looking at several things because I had run websites before and we had run into a problem with bandwidth. I'm going, I can pay this escalating amount for bandwidth for hosting or this flat rate with .com, and .com hosts CNN's blog,
mhm,
MSNBC's blog. They've already got the bandwidth. I don't have to worry about that going down.
right. Yep.
So that's why I went with them. And I've been with them since the very beginning. I've been really happy with them.
Good.
Not had any issues. Way back, you couldn't put Java on the site. You really don't need Java. It's not even a thing anymore.
Exactly. Like nobody talks about Java. Yeah.
No.
All right. So that was interesting. Okay. So we do our lead magnets through BookFunnel, the
I do
books
lead
directly
magnets
through.
and swaps through BookFunnel.
Mhm. And swaps. All right. Oh, this one. Okay. So what are your favorite resources?
Favorite resources that I use all the time.
Hmm.
Um, Emotion Thesaurus. Absolutely love it.
Hmm.
Actually
Yep.
lost my paper copy, and so I have it through Kobo as well. So I
Hmm.
use my tablet for that. Until I can find it, I'm about to give up and actually order me another paper copy. I don't know
Hmm.
what I did with it.
Yep.
I use what is it called? Naughty Words for Nice Authors.
I think I have that somewhere.
It's really great for steamy. If you write sweet or clean, it's not going to be any use to you.
You don't need it. Yeah.
Um, there was a couple of others that I use. I really,
You
really
said,
liked Universal Fantasy List.
uh-huh.
That is
Oh, the
really good for
7.
tropes and what sells and how to market them. That one was really good. She's got another one that is entirely romance, Universal Fantasy List for romance. And
Mhm.
that one is pretty good. And then there's another one that I keep really close and it moves around the house with me as I move around to work. Um, the Romance Trope Thesaurus. And this one just came out a couple of years ago. It was a Kickstarter and then she published it.
Mhm.
And I have the ebook from the Kickstarter and I have a print copy too, because I try to keep print copies of my reference books. They're just easier for me.
What
Mhm.
was that one called? Sorry, it was
Romance Trope Thesaurus.
Trope. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yes. All right. So that's those. I have when you mentioned like the emotion thesaurus, I have that whole series in
I do
paperback.
too.
I
And
can't like, yeah.
when I was the main one, the blue one is the one that's gone missing for me. And we're hunting for it. And my husband's like, "You have this whole set of them." I said, "Yeah, but the blue one is the one I need, and it's the one that's missing."
Mhm. Yeah. I love the conflict one, like because if somebody's getting stuck and everything
Yeah,
and like there it is. Let's get some ideas for some conflicts. And so yeah, that is a fantastic series.
it is. I
Mm.
absolutely love it. Someone mentioned in the school group a microtrope series. Um, and there's like 4 books in the series. Give me just a second, I can find it.
Mhm.
Because I actually linked it to a friend of mine who's an author.
Mhm.
Um, there it is. The name of them are Tropeaholics Guide, Internal Romance Tropes, External Romance Tropes, Backstory, and Hook Romance Tropes. Those are by Cindy Dees. I have not read them yet, but I'm probably going to pick one of them up and check it out.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. I think I'm gonna have to check and see if that was the one that was recommended to me recently that somebody was using because it sounds familiar.
Mm.
Um, okay. And when you are looking for support, because author life, it can feel really, really solitary if
It
we're
can.
not careful. So what do you do?
So I have a couple things. I have some good friends who are romance authors.
Hmm.
I actually have a cousin who married another romance author. So I'll get a hold of her. I like the indie author successful indie author Facebook group that is run by Craig Martell, who used to run 20 books.
Mhm.
I used to be really big in 20 books. It's not what it used to be since Craig left.
Hmm.
I'm also really, really fond of the Wide for the Win group.
Hmm.
Um, it's great. And if you have any questions for Draft Digital, I always go in and ask Mark. Mark knows it all. He's perfect. He's also really, really nice guy. I've met him 2 or 3 times. He was always in Vegas for 20 books.
Hmm.
I love Draft Digital, and I'll go in there and ask him. It's a great resource. The other one that I'm getting into now is the school group. I absolutely love the school groups for the 7 stream authors. He's really good.
Hmm.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, it's all kind of new at the moment, the school group, but we tend to put out a lot of stuff, so
Yeah, it'll
um
grow and it'll get bigger.
yeah, that's it. And like we had 2 years of content to kind of get started with. So, you know, we've always over delivered, overachieved and
Yes.
under
Over
promised.
delivered and undercharged. Yes,
Yes.
that's us.
Mm.
But
Yep.
what I love about school was that it kind of combined the best of both worlds. It
Yeah.
was a place to put the core stuff, and
Mm.
it was also a place for the community part,
Yeah.
which was so important to me, and therefore makes it well worth the monthly charge. Like, because I
Yeah.
always look at profitability,
Yeah.
and I try to keep expenses as low as possible, but with everything going on with social media platforms and all of this, it just felt
Yeah.
like safer to own our own platform, kind of, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So that. And then, and of course, I think that it's going to take a while because as you know, we've all been doing this for a long time, but a lot of authors have dropped out. They're like, they're no longer interested. So even though we had, hundreds of
Yeah.
people in all these places, it's not going to happen. So,
Well, and,
and
and a lot of people, and I get it, there's too much competition, it's not selling, and they
Yeah.
quit. They move on to do something else. Like I said, I was doing it full time and then I went back to work. And
Mm,
it took me a little time to adjust to being able to work full time and still write.
yeah.
But to me, the writing is important and I'm going to make time for it.
Yeah.
Not every,
We always talk about the difference between a hobbyist writing and a business that they write for business. It's their business, the entrepreneurship and everything. And we usually kind of they're two very different states, if you know what I mean. Um, and we kind of associate, and so like you saying there, you had to go back to work. It's kind of, yes, that was my business, but now I have to do my 9 to 5, and it's more of a hobby or condensed business, if you like.
it's my husband considers it a hobby that pays for itself
Yeah,
because it does not really contribute to the family budget.
yeah,
Um, but at the same time, it it pays for me to go to conferences, it pays
yeah,
for itself. Um, I have a significant amount in savings. This year. I'm not currently planning on going to the RWA conference in Toronto. It's not Toronto, it's Niagara Falls. But I put in a bid for a class, and if they choose it, I'll go. I've got the money in savings, I will.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just not part of the plan.
Mm.
Give me just a second here.
You're fine, no worries. Nicole, you're still.
Okay, someone's at the door and I had to get my son to answer it.
Yeah, I can't get off the seat quick enough to go and answer the door. They've usually driven off by the time I get there.
all right. Yeah, so I think that it's wonderful how you have found lots of places to find support and all of that. And then I also think that it is interesting sharing all this information about where everybody is, like what you think are great resources that you can share with other people. Um, Now, beyond that, we were going to talk specifically about your streams. So you have paperbacks,
I have paperbacks.
you have ebooks, of course.
Yes.
Have not done any hardcovers yet.
No.
Special editions.
Yep.
Um, and you have steamy books. Are your covers steamy?
Or discreet, yeah.
They're not discreet. They're mostly man chest covers.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And have you found like none of your readers care whether or not they have like discrete
No.
covers or anything?
98, well, I get put up the graphic. Something like 80% of my sales are ebooks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So no one, and it's in there. I've got like 2 or 3% that are paperback.
yeah.
Here, I'm gonna see if I can make it bigger so that people can see. There we go. All right. Um, so yes, and so haven't done a Kickstarter yet. Are you thinking about doing a Kickstarter for any of them? Oh, you're still muted.
I
Yeah.
know my son came in to question me.
Yeah.
So I have not done a Kickstarter. I mean, it's not that I'm iffy about it. There's just a lot of steps to it, a lot of intricacies to it that
Yeah.
I haven't gotten into. I have not just I don't feel like I can do one alone, partially because, I'm not Brandon Sanderson. I don't have the fan base out there to make multi-million on it.
Yeah.
I don't have the staff to find all of the details, and all of the extra bonuses, the t-shirts, the boxes, and to pack and stuff, all of that.
You could probably
Um,
have somebody working on that kind of almost full time
he has
on
an
it
entire
to make well.
company of full-time staff, probably 30 or 40 employees. He is a huge company. I do know people who've done them, And I know that they were a huge undertaking for them because they did a whole like shot glasses, coffee mugs as their incentives, and it was huge. Um, and I just haven't gotten into that.
Now, one of the big reasons that we wanted to talk to you today, of course, was because you said some really, really interesting things about translations.
Yes.
Normally, we think of translations as just ebooks, and it's like one extra income stream, translations. But you told us you're doing two.
So I I found a company that does translations as royalty share.
Mhm.
So it costs me nothing out of pocket, although you can add an incentive and get them done faster. I have not. I started doing them last year. I had my first translation finished in May. I did a total of 25 translations last year in 5 different languages, I think.
Mhm.
And those are done in ebook. They can also, the same company will find narrators for the same royalty share to do audiobook as well.
Mhm.
So every little bit helps. Um, Having a big backlist helps to upload. I can get a whole bunch done at once. You can use the company for free and list 2 books for
Mhm.
free to be translated or narrated. After that, it's, I want to say, 69 euro. It's about $75 a year.
Mhm.
Um, I made that back the first quarter after I'd paid for it.
Mm.
And
I will be doing it again this year.
what was the site?
The name of the site is TechTime, TEKTIME.IT. It's an Italian site.
Mhm.
And most of my translations are in Italian. I did the math last year. It was about 3% of my income came from translations last year. And that was just the beginning. This I just got back the royalty. Now, the way it works is a couple of weeks ago, I got the royalty totals for the last quarter of last year, and that's just the numbers. I won't get paid till April. So October to December, I didn't get the numbers till first week of February, and I won't get paid till April. It's still an income, as delayed as it is, it's still an income. And if you're trad pub, you get paid once or twice a year.
Mhm.
So every little bit helps.
Yep. No, that's so smart. Have you done any, in the notes, yes, you have some audiobooks, no Discord, no Patreon, yes to Radish. How long have you been with Radish?
I started with Radish in 2019.
Okay, so long time.
Yeah, I've been with Radish for quite a while. And in the beginning, I was making bank through them.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was good in
three
the
to four
beginning.
hundred dollars a month with
Mm.
Radish. They were really, really good.
Yep.
It's fallen way off. I have, well, last year I went 6 months before I got a payment, and their minimum payment is $50.
They started
Uh,
doing that after a while, didn't they? That they were pushing out and pushing it
so
out.
it was bought by another company. It was bought by Ink,
Oh, Inkit, is it?
Inkit.
Yeah,
And they stopped with the promotions that they'd been doing, where you could
yeah.
go in every month and sign up for different promotions. They ended that, and
Mm,
that really dropped the
mm,
revenue.
yeah.
There are still things you can do. There are still a few promotions, but not like there was.
Mm,
Last month, I had $100. I had $100 month last month through them, and that was huge.
yeah.
I mean, I had been getting $8 and $10 months for 6 months before that.
Hmm.
It may be picking up a little bit. It may simply be that they decided to promo one of my books, and that led through the entire series.
Yeah, yeah,
But this month's not as good, but it's not as bad as some other months, so I'll take it.
yeah.
10 or 15
Exactly.
bucks a month from 5 or 10 streams is still enough. That'll take me out to eat.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
have you done any merch? Are you considering merch or?
I have not done any yet. I do have a couple of things that I do, like stickers
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Most of what I get in the way of stickers that I buy, I wait until Sticker Mule does these sales
Yeah.
for $18 for 50 coupons or so. But now they have started with Sticker Mule, where you can take the designs that you have printed and set up a store and sell them.
Mm.
And
So if
just,
I have something done for me, I just list it, and it's just started in the last couple of weeks and I'm still getting it set up, but I'll look at it. I did look at Zazzle a while back and I just I don't have the time to set them up. The other issue is because most of my covers are stock photos, your license for that photo for the cover does not include other merchandise.
yeah.
So I can't take a book cover and put it on a t-shirt and sell it because your
Um,
licensing for the stock photo does not cover that other merchandise.
have you thought about doing like favorite quotes from the books and things like that?
I have not done quotes, and that's part of it because everybody's favorite quote is not something I would have pulled out of it.
Hmm.
Every now and then I'll come up with this line that I absolutely love, and once in a while people really like it, and like I have one planned for the book I'm working on,
Hmm.
but that's very close to the end. I haven't gotten there yet. I don't know that it would, I don't know if they do anything. I just have not set them up yet. I cannot imagine someone going out there wearing t-shirts with my lines on them. It's a thing.
So the interesting thing is you mentioned that you have WooCommerce, and WooCommerce works with Printify integrates with WooCommerce. And
Okay.
so uh, no, yeah, Printify. And so if you wanted to, you could get on Printify, create an account, upload, anything, kind of thing. Even your logoed stuff or whatever, because
Yeah.
people like do, and you can have notebooks and tote bags and mugs and tumblers and, like all the things. And it will integrate with
Hadn't
your
even
website and
occurred to
people can
me.
do it right there on your website.
Yeah, notebooks hadn't even occurred to me. I did have transfer stickers made
Hmm.
with the new pen names logo,
Hmm.
and I haven't done that. And one of the things I'm considering is cups. I
Hmm.
haul a 40-ounce cup with me
Hmm.
everywhere,
Yep.
putting one logo here and the other logo here for what
Yep.
I refer to as my different personalities.
Right.
I
So
used
yeah.
to have occasionally cups, like Walmart does the metal insulated cups, but they're like coffee cups in 12 ounces.
Mhm.
Used to have those printed with my covers on them. I didn't sell them, which is how I could get around it. I would
Yes.
print them and I would carry them until someone's like, I really like that. And then I would give it away.
Mhm.
And I did that 4 or 5 times. My dad carried one for years. And someone would ask, well, have you read those books? Those are romances, right? And he goes, yeah, I know. I haven't read them yet because I would give him copies of all of my books in print, but he didn't want to crack the spines.
Mm.
So he wouldn't read them.
Yeah,
Um,
get that.
Shortly, like 6 months before he passed away, I put all of my books on his Kindle. And he read them all in under a week and he absolutely loved them.
Oh.
But, it's just one of those things that he didn't want to crack them. And when he passed away, he had all my books signed to him, and I went to the rest of my family and said, "I don't want them back. Who wants them?"
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And one of my cousins took them. They're like, "I'd be happy to have them." So
Mhm.
it worked. But I just have not. I can't get past that piece in my mind of, I'm just this. I grew up in a little bitty town of under 1,000 people.
Mhm.
Who wants anything? It's just me. I'm just a small town girl. No one wants something like that from me, of all people.
Mhm. Yeah, I get it. Yes, I understand completely because I grew up in a town. It was like it's also considered small because I mean it was like 40,000 people. You know how like towns are, right? Like 40,000 people. So yeah. But no, it's amazing. So like it always would crack me up when people would because I was like, what the heck? People want stuff with my logo on it. That's so weird. That's so
Like,
weird.
exactly. I'm like,
You
you
know?
want stuff with my logo, with my name? And it's like the new pen name. Her tagline is romance done dark and dirty. And yeah,
Mhm.
I can see people wanting to wear that. I would
Yes.
wear that. And I will. I'll have shirts made and I will wear that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's just like I'm just me. At the same,
Mhm.
but I people ask me in the very beginning, cast this book. Who would you choose to cast it?
Yes.
And I am so out of touch with what's on TV.
Hmm.
We have not had TV service since about 2009.
Really?
Yeah, we will have like Netflix and stuff like that, but we cut off all cable, all satellite.
Yeah,
The kids are watching reruns for $100 a month, and they can watch that for $10 a month through Netflix.
exactly.
And so I go through looking at pictures, and I did not know who he was, but I cast the main character in my urban fantasy series, the main guy, as Charlie Hunnam,
Oh,
Love him.
and the female as Princess Kate. But I did not recognize her when I was just looking at pictures.
Mhm.
It wasn't until I'm like, well, that kind of didn't work. How did I end up casting two British people?
Yeah, I was going to say
I think he's Australian. I think he's Australian.
he's not.
He's
English.
not?
He's
He's
British.
English?
Yeah.
Really? I thought he was
Yeah.
Australian.
No,
No.
Chris Hemsworth is Australian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Charlie Hunnam is English.
He's English.
Listen, Christine's like, for sure, we're claiming him. Thank you. Well,
I'm
not only
taking
No, he's
that,
English.
but he's, like he was Sons of Anarchy main character. So like motorcycle guy, like seriously.
Yeah.
But this is not the motorcycle club. This is the Shifter books.
Okay, okay. But here's the other thing. If you have not watched Sons of Anarchy,
I
you know,
hadn't at the
haven't.
time.
it's
I
Hamlet.
haven't.
It's Hamlet. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I hadn't at the time. I've seen it since, or most of it. I have not finished the last season because I know things are going to happen that I don't want to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But, there's some things. I was not the casting. I can pick things, but that doesn't really matter to what the readers see.
hmm
And so, let's let them do it. And I think at one point years ago, I had a poll on my website, who do you think should be these characters? If we were going to make a movie
Yeah.
out of it, would you cast them? And that's a great way for interaction.
Mm.
But I don't know that for a while, it was a really, really big thing to do. I don't know that it is so much anymore. I haven't seen hardly any of it recently.
Yeah. I know. Mm. Do you do many signings?
I have not in a few years. The last one I
Mm.
did was a 20 books to 50K signing event. That was, I think, 23. Yeah,
Mm.
23 was the last one I went to. I will also occasionally go do the county fair in my hometown.
Okay, yes, good.
That's been 2017.
Okay, yeah.
It's been almost 10 years. And I need to do that again. But since I've gone back to work, I haven't had time.
Yeah.
So I told my husband last night, I really want to go back and do the fair again.
hmm
But I'd have to start the fair is mid-September. I'd have to start ordering stock now because I
Yeah.
know what I'm going to sell in my hometown.
Yeah.
And the fair there is a more reasonably priced. The booth there is $65. The fair where I'm living here now, the booth is $450.
Oh,
And I could make my money back. I know I could, but it's
you have to
also
think about it.
it's also 5 days on my feet from
Yeah.
8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
5 days of not writing.
5 days of not writing
Yeah.
on a cement floor, and I'm not 25 anymore.
Cement floors are a no-no for us.
Actually, the last one I did, I wore Docs the entire time,
Yeah.
and my feet did not hurt after standing
Yeah.
on. But like I said, I'm not 25 anymore. That's going to hurt. I could possibly find some other local authors to split it with. I just have not. I haven't gotten into it. The fair here is in April, so I'd have to come up with the time because
Yeah.
where I live now is a big winter grower. All of the broccoli, cabbage, spinach, all of your lettuce and salad plants that we buy this time of year, they're grown here.
Okay.
I've been here for 17 years. I have not seen it freeze yet.
Wow.
I have seen 125.
Yeah. I would not like
So
that.
they hold the spring, the fair in the spring. So
Yeah.
that one, I could probably do it. I just don't know that I will. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. It
Okay.
is. And with the rheumatoid as well, it every year gets worse.
Every year it gets worse. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, in 3 years, you retire, then you can help. You can go and help me carry things. You
Yeah,
can,
exactly.
then I have someone to stand at the booth with the cash box while I go to the bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah, these things
Yeah.
matter.
So true.
Yeah. The last time I went to a fair, I took one of my teenagers
Mhm.
Yeah. I've done that too.
for the same reason. And now those same teenagers are grown and flown.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. So, last question.
Mhm.
If you were going to give advice to a new author, what would you say? Someone who's just starting out. What do you recommend?
For me, I write every day. If
Mhm.
I take a break, it takes me time to get back into the story and into the flow. So even if it's a few words, write every day. Do the research and determine if Kindle Unlimited is right for you. It's a very individualized decision. Is it going to work for you and for what you write? It's really, really big for romance.
Mhm.
I do not use it for most things because I was wide before Kindle Unlimited existed.
Mhm.
And I feel that going to just Kindle Unlimited now would be a betrayal of those wide readers.
Mhm.
Last year, 50% of my income was from Amazon. This month so far, I'm 30. I'm working really hard to grow my other platforms because you never know when Amazon is going to get a wild hair and ban you.
Right. Yeah. Which is much more likely to happen if you are in KU as opposed to if you are wide.
Exactly. And if something were to happen and Amazon decides, no, we're not listing your books anymore, I'm not completely screwed.
Yeah.
And
And
as a wide author, you have the ability to sell directly if you ever decide that's something you want to do.
Exactly. I can sell directly. I can give away as many copies for review or newsletter lures or whatever. I can give away as many as I want. You can still do a subscription service. You just have to go with Kobo Plus instead of Kindle Unlimited because they are not exclusive.
Mhm.
You can sell your books to libraries.
Mhm.
And I'm a huge library user.
Mhm.
My hometown library, when I first started publishing and it became public knowledge, I had like 8 books out at the time. Walked in the library over there. Librarian says, "Oh, I was looking for how to get a hold of you. How can we buy your books?" I said, "Well, number one, they're on Amazon, but you guys will not buy my books. I learned to read in this library, and I donate copies of every book to that library. They tell me they can't keep them on the shelf."
Oh, I love that.
yeah.
So I go in and I'm like, okay, I'll donate them. They go, well, you got to sign them. And I didn't want to sign them at first thinking they wouldn't come back. But it's a small town. Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
They come back. Um, and so I donate them all to them. The local library where I am now does not allow indie books.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
It's a local board of supervisor things that we have given up on fighting. So I can't donate books to, but if someone goes in to Overdrive or Hoopla and requests it, they'll buy it there.
Interesting.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
a weird small town. And while I want to say Yuma is not a small town, our population is almost 100,000 year round. In their mindset, they're still a small town.
Yeah.
In the winter, our population is over 200,000. We double in the winter.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's we are 20 miles from the Mexico border. We get snowbirds from all over going into Mexico for healthcare.
Wow. Yeah.
Mhm. Wild. So,
It is crazy.
mm,
So, no, write every day. Decide for you if KU is for you.
mhm.
If you're going to go wide, go on Google too. It takes a little bit extra, but take the effort to be on Google because
Mhm.
that is my number 2 platform.
Nice.
Mm.
I love that.
So
Interesting.
Very interesting.
All right.
Lots of things there.
yeah,
Thank
I
you
like.
so much for your time. Really, you shared so much about your process and great resources and great tips too. So yeah, thank you. And we look forward to catching up with you again, like after, you've hit publish, it's been
Once the
published and you feel like
yeah, once the new one comes out, I'll come back and tell you what I think
Sounds
of the publisher.
Super. Yeah, fantastic.
All
Look, and
right.
good luck with that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on 7 Stream Queens. If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow queens who are ready to grow their streams. Follow us on social media platforms for even more tips and resources, or visit your website to explore how we can help you expand your business. Until next time, keep building those streams. And don't forget, queens, your reign has just begun.